cue the dramatic headline for more views because drama is what sells now. But seriously, 10K is actually kind of where everything changes for you, and I'm going to explain why. Because on the surface, $10,000 might not seem like all that much. In fact, it's actually a pretty long way from being a millionaire or being rich. But one of the best pieces of advice I've ever actually gotten from some pretty successful people is to actually celebrate the smaller victories and not just and only the bigger ones. So that's why in this video, I'll be going over 4 big reasons why everything will change for you after reaching $10,000. So number 1 is because you're building your foundation. While $10,000 on its own is not really life-changing money, and is likely not enough to live off of, but the biggest reason why this is a significant and notable achievement is because it basically is the first proof to yourself that you can make it. That you have the skills and the habits to reach $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, and even potentially $1 million and more. So I'll be very, very frank with you. There's really not a lot of magic or hidden secrets to saving money through being financially responsible. It's actually a few steps that are actually pretty easy to learn and a few strategies depending on where you want to be financially. Now, the hardest parts and the most difficult thing to actually save and build wealth is from having bad financial habits and not having the discipline to make the right decision, or you don't know enough to actually properly prioritize. For example, someone who rather prioritize spending their entire paycheck or all their paychecks on buying lottery tickets instead of paying their rent, and then they get evicted, become homeless, and cycle kind of continues downwards. So while $10,000 may not actually seem like a lot in the whole or in the grand scheme of things, is actually a very crucial milestone because it reflects financial discipline. It's proof that you've been able to save $10,000 and you know that you can repeat and rinse and go through the same process continuously to increase your net worth. And saving $10,000 doesn't really just happen by accident unless you're a trust fund baby or something like that, but it's the result of intentional choices and consistent effort. So with these habits in place, you can build towards larger goals like $100,000 or even 1 million and more over time. Number 2 is that it builds your mindset. There is a concept that was popularized by Jack Welch. He's the former CEO of General Electric. And that concept is stretch goals. The actual idea is to basically reach for more than you think is possible, with the idea that you'll get further than if you reach for less. But sometimes that's actually a bit of a mixed bag. So if the goal is too far out and too far out of reach, then sometimes you might just think it's impossible. And when you think something's impossible, that you'll never get there, you're probably not going to do it. It becomes a major mental block for you and prevents you from thinking that you'll ever reach your goals. So that makes it so that you become complacent, maybe you feel hopeless, and you eventually just overall stop working towards that goal. So getting to 10,000 really is going to help you mentally. We all hear this and we all do this, but we all crawl before we walk. So we all need to reach 10,000 before we can reach 100,000 or $1 million. And it's extremely important to have confidence in yourself and confidence that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve, because that's really energy and fuel to keep you going. Now, number 3, this is actually about building your net worth. So for this one, we're going to talk about actual money. If you only have $1, and let's say the best way to make more money is to invest it, let's say an index fund. If you only have $1, and in an index fund, you can increase that 10% year over year, it won't be that much, even if you had that for the rest of your life. If you gain 10% for every year for, let's say, 50 years, that $1 will still only be just about $100. Even if you saved it for 100 years, well, you'll finally have your $10,000 in net worth. But instead, if you started with $10,000 and you increase that by 10% every year for easy math and comparison, let's actually just see how much you'll have after 50 years. So if you do the math there, instead of just $100, if you had $10,000 increasing 10% year over year, in 50 years, that means you'll already be a millionaire. You'll have that $1 million in net worth. So as you can see, it's actually a pretty significant increase. And that's where that phrase money makes money comes from. If you start with very little, it's really hard to make a lot from it. If you start with a lot more, it's very easy to grow that by a huge amount. And that brings me to my last point here. But number 4 is actually about building your stress-free finances. So this, what I'm showing here, is actually a survey done by MarketWatch, where they asked 2,000 Americans what impact their finances had on their mental health. And 65% of them said that finances are their biggest source of stress. So this is probably something that most of us want, but most of us want more money. And while money is not the most important thing, the most ultimate important thing in the world, it's still very, very important. It gives us the freedom to leave our jobs if we have a bad job, bad boss, bad coworkers, or just in general bad working conditions. It gives us the freedom to do the things we want instead of doing things we don't want just for a paycheck. And can really help us from getting stressed out if, let's say, our car breaks down and needs to be fixed at the mechanic, or maybe we have a roof leak that we need to fix, or else it's going to create a lot of mold and damage the drywall and cost us a lot more money in the end. So $10,000 is your first step to financial freedom, and to not have to worry about your finances. And the more money you have, the more shielded and more protection you get from emergencies or from having to be stuck in jobs that you don't want to be, or in times where you, let's say, get laid off and lose your job and need to be able to have enough funds to cushion some months of unemployment. So having some money saved up, having $10,000 is really going to be kind of a good shield or protection for you, just to help you stay sane and keep your own mentality healthy. And that really just brings me to our conclusion. So in summary, just to wrap up this video, your first $10,000 is really just the first step in your journey. But at this point, you'll have developed good financial habits and a basic understanding of your finances. It's also going to help you build your mentality, helps you stay consistent, and actively working towards reaching larger goals and before you reach greater and higher net worths. And on the way there, you'll also have an emergency fund that affords you more freedom to do what you want and more protection against financial stress from emergencies. That's really all I have to say for this video. So again, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.